Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today in this video, I'm going to deconstruct what makes up the creation of a migraine. And I'm also going to give an example of a real life situation, a woman that's currently a client of mine in my program. So it's going to be exciting. Stay through to the end. My name is Kai. I'm an integrative physical therapist, neurosensory expert, and trauma sensitive coach. And I'm here to help restore their innate neuroresilience, no longer have migraine attacks. I like to explain the creation of a migraine attack like how a fire is created. And that can seem like a good picture because inflammation can often feel like fire and pain can oftentimes feel like fire. Any type of pain that is driven from low neuroresilience will follow this, what I'm going to deconstruct. So it could be migraine pain, it could be IBS, it could be weird muscle aches and pain, weird dizziness, weird tinnitus ringing in the ear, it could be weird flashing lights in aura, it could be just tension headaches. Those are just a few examples. First, that's necessary is wood for a fire, right? What is likened to wood? The genetics. But genes that allow your body to create migraine when you have low neuroresilience or when you're depleted, I should say, when your system's depleted, it's like a genetic blueprint. Wood by itself cannot create fire. It needs something that's happening to it in order to create and build a fire. Like if you have a blueprint of a building, you need to do things to do something to create the building, right? It's the same with the fire. With wood by itself, you're not going to have a fire. So keep that in mind. If you know Bruce Lipton and his work, it comes from that. The biggest drain and depletion to help spur on a migraine is the lifestyle, your style of life. It's the same thing with like diabetes. With just the gene, you cannot create diabetes. Your lifestyle has a huge impact. Diet, sleep, stress, all those things. But I like to specifically say with migraine headaches, your style of life, your lifestyle is the way that you relate to yourself and the world around you that creates the tension necessary, the depletion and drain to create a migraine. Because we know there's certain things that have to take place in regards to your neurotransmitters. Like, for example, dopamine and serotonin tend to be really low prior to the onset of a migraine. Next, you need a match to create a fire. So this match is what I call like the necessary root, something that was developed over time, especially during your developmental years when your nervous system was developing. And that is emotional neglect. So they've done a lot of studies and a lot of research on this. And emotional neglect during your developmental years is one of the common factors that are present in adults with chronic pain. But just because you have a match does not mean that you will have the creation of a nice big fire. To make sure you have a fire that keeps going is kindling, right? So if you have kindling on top of the wood and then you put the match, that can help create a proper fire. It's the same thing for migraine. The trigger that's necessary. And yes, I know if you have been in the migraine community for a long time in the medical world, they will tell you that yes, it's the strong smell, the loud noise, the bright light, the change in weather, that weird thing that you ate, but it goes a lot deeper than that. Yes, those things you notice, but your body has depleted and drained 0 to 72 hours prior to the attack of migraine. So the trigger that's deeper than all those things that we know, have been told, is what has created the depletion and drain on your brain and nervous system. Because we know for a fact that migraine is created and comes from the brain. No, it's not your fault. No, you're not doing it consciously. The way you have been programmed, conditioned, and wired to relate and regulate your emotions and deal with adversity. For example, doubt, depletion, deceptions creates drain, and then we disconnect and dissociate. And all of these things create the trigger. So, what am I tolerating in my life that I don't need to be is a good question to ask. And also, what am I ignoring, avoiding, denying, or dismissing as far as my feelings or my needs in recent situations in the last 0 to 72 hours? Good questions to ask. And then, lastly, before I get into the case study, is the size of the flame, the intensity of the pain. What makes certain migraines just, oh my gosh, horrible, lasting days and days and days? And then what makes certain migraines less intense? The brain is responsible for the creation of a migraine because of these neurotransmitters that have been firing. And these neurotransmitters create an alarm going on in the brain. All of your emotional processing and the creation of CGRP, which is the chemical required to create a migraine in your brain transmitting, is all created in the cerebellum. All of that in the same place. Plus, it's where you're responsible for motor control and balance. The level of intensity of your migraine is congruent with the level of protection or safety your brain is trying to give you because it was wired and programmed and conditioned from past experiences. So it has this memory that whatever you are feeling that's familiar, this drain, this deception, this doubt, this depletion, this disconnection, this is why your brain is like, I need to protect her. So I'm going to give her a migraine. When she has a migraine, she removes herself from people and situations that could be depleting and draining. She lies down in a fetal position all by herself. And it's noticed that it's kind of like when we're trying to console ourselves and we go with no bright lights, we go into the dark, we go where it's silent, where there's no loud noises. And isn't that interesting? It's almost like the body's trying to say, let me help you recover from this horrible, draining, depleting, deceiving, distracting situation that's making you self abandon and lose the neural synapses and connection that are happening between your cells communicating with each other. I'm going to help this make sense to you by the case study. So, one of my clients, she's been in the program for a little while and has learned a lot. And she wrote me today in our community celebrating what she came to discover on her own. My client had been without migraines for quite some time, but then the day before had become uncontrollable and she could not put her finger on what was draining and depleting her. And this was really frustrating for her. She didn't let me know all this as it was happening, but she realized what it was. Several days ago, she had reached out to her father and she had told her father that she had found out there were all these things coming out about statins, for cholesterol, the cholesterol medication. And she was really concerned about her dad, who takes cholesterol medication, and had suggested to him some natural remedies that she had been researching to lower your cholesterol levels. She loves her dad so much, and she didn't hear from him for many days. This is the slow burn that was taking place. And she didn't realize how much it was bothering her emotionally. Now, if you're in my program, we go to these developmental things that took place. And one of them is we had unhealthy attachments to our caregivers and our parents growing up. And not really a fault of anybody's, but if you have emotionally immature parents or parents who were going through a lot of things, or like parents who were alcoholics, parents who were unhappy in their marriages, parents who were depressed and anxious, they are not able to attach properly to the child, especially in infancy and all those early years. What we do though, we sacrifice attaching to ourselves and we continue trying to attach to these parents and caregivers. When a child or a baby, innately it's in their wiring to attach to their caregiver. When they're not able to and they don't feel that attaching, they then cannot attach to themselves properly. And this creates insecure attachment. And that's a whole nother story. We have avoidant, we have anxious, we have disorganized, but these dysfunctional, unhealthy attachment styles will continue into adulthood. My client was doing what she had been doing her whole life and what I had been doing also. We do these things to try to effort and fix the fact that we do not have a good attachment with our loved ones. And so we continually do these things. But because it's just the way it is, they can't, what I call, Lego the ego. Like, just let it go and realize the reality. I'm not going to be able to attach and connect to my loved one ever. Because if they're not in that space to do the healing work for themselves, for personal growth and development, it's for naught. So she came upon this realization and she was able to then nurture her little girl inside from how we've learned. It was such a wonderful breakthrough moment for her because this is what stopped the depletion and the drain on her nervous system. In conclusion, I will encourage you all to look at this deconstruction of migraine pain in the way that I have laid it out and give yourself permission to let go the hope rope. Let go the hope rope that one day you will have this amazing relationship that you've always yearned for. That is, there's nothing wrong in the fact that you've always wanted that. But in reality, it's not possible. And you need to stop draining and depleting yourself. Let go the do-gooder daughter role. The do-gooder daughter role. If I'm a better daughter and I do all this stuff, maybe they will connect to me. And ladies, this is also in other relationships in your life with friends and or significant others. What are we doing? And what's really happening here? Let go the dream that the more effort, the more trying, the more I try to do, the more I effort, the more I give, maybe one day they will acknowledge and accept me and love me the way that I know that I need and want and deserve. Just let go that whole dream. When you do this, you let go of the drain. You stop ignoring that pull that's depleting you. Once you stop that, it's almost like it's siphoning from your nervous system and it's creating neurotransmitters in your brain that you don't need. What is draining you today and depleting you that you have been tolerating that you really don't need to be tolerating anymore? What are you ignoring, denying, dismissing, and avoiding because you have been trying to find this love that's just not possible because they're not capable to give it in the way that you want, need, and deserve? Okay, these are good questions. If you have any desire to see if your body has been dealing with low neuroresilience, I want you to click the link below and you can connect with me and I can give you a free neuroresilience and get to analyze the root of your migraine because it might be something that you haven't yet recognized. I will see you in the next video.